What if the world's conflicts start living inside us? Yes, you heard it right. What if the tension you see on screens begins to echo in your thoughts, in the way you sleep, eat, talk, maybe, or even plan your future? You just have to rethink, oh, what is happening around me? Because we live in an age of constant alerts, breaking news coming in, global crisis, political arguments, and social divides. Even if we aren't on the battlefield, our minds are. We are constantly feeding, and feeding. Hi, I'm Dr. Komal Chawla, a health psychologist, and in this episode of Wellness Mantra, we'll explore how geopolitical tension is quietly shaping our psychological health across children, youth, adults, and the elderly, and what we can do to stay mentally anchored in an unstoppable world. So, what happens when the news enters our homes? Recently, I met a 17-year-old boy, and he was very anxious, restless, and always, glued to his phone while having a conversation. When I asked about what worries him the most, he said, "Ma'am, it feels like the world could collapse anytime. The wars that we hear about, climate disaster which is actually happening, everything is so uncertain now." Another parent told me um, her 9-year-old daughter refused to watch cartoons anymore. Instead, she watches YouTube, news clips, and asks, Mama, will there be a war here too? At the same time, many adults tell me, I feel drained just reading the news or maybe hearing, what is happening. But I can't stop scrolling. And that's the truth of our times. The world's anxiety has entered our living rooms. It's no longer a distant story, it's becoming part of our daily emotional climate. So, what's the psychology behind it? Our brain is not built for endless crisis exposure. Evolutionary, if we see, humans faced short bursts of danger, a storm, an attack, and then safety returned because there was always a fixed pattern that used to follow. But today, through screens, the brain faces continuous global threat signals. And every time we read about war or injustice or hear about the same, our amygdala, the fear center of the brain, gets activated. It releases cortisol and adrenaline, preparing us to fight or flee. And when this becomes chronic, the body enters a state called allostatic load, where constant alertness drains your immunity, sleep, quality, and digestion, and also the focus span that we have. Neuroscientists now call this the crisis brain, and the result is it leads to more irritability, poorer decision making, and a lot of fatigue. Even when nothing is wrong in your personal life, still you feel drained out. So let's break this down and understand how global stress affects different age groups. So, when we talk about children, they observe parental anxiety because whenever parents constantly discuss fear, maybe talking about the money instability happening, the markets going up and down, or conflict, children's developing brain registers the world as unsafe. And this triggers high cortisol early in life, which can later affect emotional regulation and concentration issues. And the common signs that can be seen are the nightmares, irritability, mood swings, etc. Talking about another group, teenagers, maybe, or the college students. So, this generation is growing up in uncertainty. The wars, climate fear, AI entering the job world, and anxiety related to it. So, developmentally, their prefrontal cortex, which is the front area of your brain, which is responsible for planning and impulse control, is still maturing. And constant global worry overactivates their emotional brain amygdala and disrupts your motivation. So the common signs which are seen in this particular age group is hopelessness. They have digital addiction, and also it has been seen that they tend to lose the purpose, uh, of whatever they are doing and thinking about their future. Another age group is adults. Adults face performance pressure. They need to stay stable, for their families while silently carrying fear about finances, security, and future. And research shows that people exposed to continuous negative news are 23% more likely to show symptoms of generalized anxiety. And the common signs are your fatigue, irritability, burnout has been reported, and also relationship detachment is something which is a new thing, but yes, it has also been reported in this particular age group. Now, talking about older adults, so for the elderly, geopolitical instability often triggers existential anxiety. Thoughts like, "What kind of world are we living? Are we leaving behind? And what kind of world we are living in right now?" So that is combined with the loneliness they are already in that particular stage. This can increase depressive symptoms and lower their cognitive functioning. So, in short, if we say every generation is affected differently, but yes, very deeply. From a developmental psychology view, each stage of life is a step toward your identity and meaning that you're giving to your life. So, global instability disrupts that. Children need predictable routines because when the world feels chaotic, their brain's hippocampus, which stores and take care of your memories, uh, can't be stabilized. Teenagers need hope and purpose in their life, and constant exposure to global injustice can make them disillusional. Talking about adults, they need agencies. Feeling powerless reduces their dopamine, the motivational chemical. In elderly, they need emotional closure. Instead, they are met with fear about legacy, what they're leaving behind, and uncertainty. So, the biological processes behind this is very simple. Stress chemicals rise, calming hormones falls, and emotional resilience weakens. So, over time, what happens is chronic exposure rewires the nervous system towards vigilance rather than the growth. Now the question comes, so what we can do? So let's move to the solutions. Small but science-backed interventions. So for everyone, news diet is something we all have to understand. Limit news to 2 intentional checks maybe per day. Avoid scrolling before sleep to have a mindful sleep. Then mindful consumption is also very important. Ask, will this update change my action or just fuel my anxiety? So, what you're watching needs to be, again, the feed, the kind of food that you give to your brain has a similar consequences. Body anchoring, which talks about deep breathing, gentle exercise, or grounding touch helps reset the nervous system again and again. Specifically for children, it is recommended that don't expose them to distressing visuals. Talk about world events calmly in age appropriate ways. You don't have to really talk in very much in detail about the wars or the financial crisis which is happening, because you can really tell them in simple words and as per the age what they should know. Then maybe talk about or reinforce the safety at home, follow consistent routines, and love and bonding should be given importance and priority, and let the home routine be very, very predictable. For teenage and college students, Encourage community engagement or voluntary tasks, so that they restore social contact points. Teach them emotional vocabulary so that they are able to label their feelings well, and that's how they work on the same thing. So frustration, fear, or fatigue helps in settling your amygdala, because once you label it, you know what is happening, and you're there to protect yourself, so your system calms down. Set again digital boundaries, which are very, very important. This doom scrolling is something that should be avoided. For adults, I believe practice news fasting weekends are very essential. More family time, specifically on the weekends. Building resilience through your social connections, so peer support, friends, families, that should be given priority. And then maybe if you're experienced burnout or helplessness, try maybe writing journals or paying gratitude, small steps that really increases your serotonin and will keep you at peace. For older adults, it's about encourage the connections, storytelling, give them a platform where intergenerational conversations can happen, so that memory sharing, can be seen, and that really gives them the dopamine kick. Reducing their isolation, if they are, with you, with the family. So maybe youngsters should at least take 10 to 15 minutes in a day, just talking to them, having the daily conversations. I think that really lowers the stress markers in them. So collective anxiety, if you want, can be resolved by collective calmness that can be taken care of the whole family. And it starts with one calm home. And that is what we need to remember. So at the end, maybe I would like to say that the world may always have tensions, political, social, economic. We have seen in the past history, and we are seeing at present. But if we learn to pause, reflect, and connect, we prevent that chaos from rewiring our mental script and rewriting it. So let's create maybe small pieces of these interventions, these tips in our day to day life, and make our people, our homes safe. Because peace isn't only a diplomatic goal, it's a biological need. And when we nurture it inside ourselves, it really spreads quietly. One conversation, one breath, one day at a time will make a difference. So, closing with this, I'm Dr. Komal Chawla, and this was your Wellness Mantra. Thank you for listening and for choosing calm over chaos. Please like, subscribe, and share, and keep listening for such more conversations.